Dear friends, we're ready to proceed to the next panel. I'll let my esteemed colleague Lilia Honcharevich introduce the theme for the next panel and to start off with the minute of silence. Lilia, please.
Dear friends, please stand up for the minute of silence and the national anthem of Ukraine.
Триває війна, розв'язана Росією проти України. Щоранку о 9 годині на всій території нашої держави згадуємо українців, які віддали своє життя. Всіх, хто воював, усіх військових та всіх цивільних, дорослих та дітей, усіх, хто міг би ще жити, якби Росія не почала цю війну. Вічна пам'ять кожному, хто загинув за Україну.
Dear friends, welcome to the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub that are at Arendal Suka, that are co-organized by the Capacity Democracy Week, SMB Noria, Arendal Library, the Arendal Kalina, and many organizations that are contributing. Each of every one of you can be a part of this hub this year and also for the next years to come to register the panels with a topic that concerns Ukraine. We have also with us the very important topic today to discuss, and we have the full agenda today from 1 o'clock till 6 o'clock, thanks to SMB Noria. And we have also today, we have the also cultural program that will be introduced by Arendal Kalina. And also we have the charity auction of the picture painting that you have see here. It's the painting of the Arendal Suka founder, Oystein Djupedal, and you can bid for this painting, and the money will go to buy the car for the front, for the evacuation, and it will be. This charity auction is in cooperation with the Ukrainian Freedom Convoys and Oystein Djupedal and the Capacity Democracy Week, and the car will be named Capacity Democracy Week. Now we will have very important panel that Lars is organizing about the entrepreneurship in exile. We have a small video just to see how the Ukrainians defenders, how the Ukrainians business are working in order to ensure and bring the victory closer. So be with us till 6 o'clock and we will have the very nice, interesting and very useful program. Thank you.
Ukraine, the key to Europe's security, the fortress of democracy. Introduction. Friends, colleagues, partners, today security is not theory, it is reality. In Ukraine, the future of Europe is being decided. The future of democracy, the future of peace. Without Ukraine, there is no security. We are holding back an army that challenges the very right to be free. Every day of our resistance is a day without missiles hitting Warsaw, Riga, Oslo. History has already shown that hesitation before a dictator costs thousands of lives. So supporting Ukraine is not charity. It is your own shield. 2. Drones. Our eyes, our hands, our weapon. We fight with intellect and technology. Our drones stop convoys, destroy ammunition depots, save lives. They already set standards that could become the backbone of NATO security. That is why. More funding, direct deliveries, joint production. Now. 3. We are the DNA of freedom. From Maidan to the front line, we have proved freedom is worth any price. We have no cult of personality. Our only cult is dignity. And every day we prove democracy lives only when people fight for it. 4. The fortress of Europe. Without a free Ukraine, the front line will run along NATO's borders. Today we take the hits so they don't reach Berlin, Paris, Oslo. Do not let this fortress fall, because if it falls, no one will be safe. Conclusion. We are not asking you to fight for us. We are asking you to protect our shared home together. Freedom, democracy, peace. Together, we will win. Together, we will preserve Europe. Glory to Ukraine.
And on that, I'd like to call to the stage Steinar Korsmo. On this subject, we're speaking about how businesses can create the future both for Ukraine and Ukrainians and a valuable contribution to Norwegian society. And the lessons learned from the Ukrainian diaspora in Norway. And Steinar has a long and storied experience within the startup community from Seed Forum International, both in Ukraine and the neighboring country Moldova, and of course here in Norway and all across the globe. So I give the floor to you, Steinar, to give us some insights in how Ukrainian entrepreneurs can succeed in Norway. What do they need in terms of support, and what can we as a society provide, both from the commercial sector and from the public sector? Please, Steinar.
Thank you, Lars Petter. This cable is quite short. Actually, if we could move this a little bit like that. Okay? Sorry for that. Yeah, thank you. Did I destroy something?
Everything is okay.
Okay, thank you. Well, Lars Petter, thank you very much. We've been running support to founders in Norway all the way back from 2003 and in Ukraine since 2007. Just to explain a little bit of basically what we do currently in Ukraine, we have 3 major innovation centers or accelerators basically. meaning we have about 4,000 square meters under management. The one which is the biggest is iHub in Kiev, which is about approximately 150 meters from the center of Maidan. Currently with about, I think it's about 280 founders which resides in iHub in Kiev. We have 600 and something square meters in Lviv, and we are just about doubling that simply because of the major, approach to support founders. We also have a smaller unit in Vinica, and I'm proud to say that we are currently evolving also the iHub network in Ukraine into 3 further cities as we speak. We also have a major same hub in Chisinau in Moldova with 4,000 square meters. So in this system, it is a major, I would say, explosion of foundership and entrepreneurship, basically an important backbone of the innovation system of Ukraine as well as Moldova. I'm mentioning Moldova as well simply because since the beginning of the war, we have had quite a few exile, may I say, founders from Ukraine residing also in our iHub in Chisinau, as well as we have been helping Ukrainian founders as well in Poland, as well as in Norway, for instance, and several other places. Now, currently we help mainly in Ukraine, and this is kind of adding a little bit to the previous debate panel, simply because we have, since the last 2 years, helped quite a few founders in Ukraine, which are veterans. So we are basically accelerating veterans. We're doing that with males, but more and more with females. As you might perhaps know, currently it's about 70,000 female veterans in Ukraine. And many of those are basically involved more and more in innovative things. And what comes out of what veterans basically do, that is basically Miltech and Medtech. So I'm not going to promote it too much anymore because it's also a security question. But basically we're not promoting our iHub network too much these days, simply because it's lots of exciting things which happens inside this network in Ukraine simply. Right now, I can tell you it is about 500 up and running startups just around the city of Kiev, which are involved in military technology involvement. If you speak about those founders in Ukraine, which are involved in just Miltech involvement, it's several thousands, right? What we saw from the beginning in 2000, after the outbreak of the war, was a float of founders, particularly from Kiev and eastbound of Kiev towards the west. So our network, our innovation center in Lviv was overcrowded. That's why we're also currently more than doubling our space in Lviv. This has turned, fortunately or unfortunately, a little bit, back to where it was, because I was particularly involved in helping 280 something founders from Kiev to actually run out of the country, females. 100% of those are back in Ukraine. 100% are back in Ukraine. And this is really what it's all about, because it's a brain drain in Ukraine currently within academia, within many other sectors. So that's why it's very important for us exactly to help particularly female Ukrainians, which are residing, for instance, in Norway, in Sweden, in Finland, and other countries, basically to found, startups here. But it is very important that those females has a fast track also to return to Ukraine simply within, our system. So that's why we actually set up a fast track back to Ukraine. It means that our teams in Kiev, Lviv, Vinica, and so forth are basically helping females in Norway to actually set up, a company in Ukraine. They have a place to work, etc., etc. So this is very important. That's kind of the infrastructure for it. But in addition, also the methodology is very important, because if you want to found a lifestyle company, or if you want to found a company which is a fast growth company or somewhere in between, that depends very often on the mindset of the founder. So in our accelerator program, which runs currently more than 50 countries around the world in a global melt, Ukraine is a very important part of that, simply supporting basically, as I said, females, right, to basically re-establish no business back, but then in Ukraine. So, to be very frank, we're not really supporting Ukrainian founders in Norway, Sweden to found, their companies in Norway and Sweden and beyond. We're helping to basically found the companies in Ukraine. And that's a very important thing. So it's the infrastructure and it's the methodology to do this. But of course, the alternative is also for many refugees in Norway, of course, to be founders, to run their own business, not necessarily to think growth, but within that particular sector, we also advise the founders, Ukrainian founders in Norway, also to do their sole tradership, personlig foretak, right? Within, their, I would say, the industry they actually basically come originally from. But the main task we're doing is basically to help Ukrainians to found companies and basically reside back into the Ukrainian innovation system. That's basically what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insight, Steinar. I'd like to ask you to expand a little bit on the projects that you have already done in Ukraine and Moldova, because they are closely connected, and how we can take some of the lessons learned there into Norway, to both for the diaspora community in Norway and the refugees that are currently residing here. How can the Norwegian business society and society at large lay the groundwork for success stories for Ukrainian entrepreneurs here in Norway?
It's a lot of important learnings from what has been evolved in Ukraine. When we started, as I said, to support Ukrainian entrepreneurs back in 2007, it was, sorry to say, basically nothing. Nobody knew what was a startup, basically, and so forth, right? So it's been an enormous involvement of the Ukrainian innovation systems since then, right? Not only the founders part of it, but also the investor part of it. Now at least before the war, you had a functionable business agent network, you had the Venture Capital Association, and a more and more integration of Ukraine into the global innovation system. Fortunately or unfortunately, I think that Ukraine before the war was very focused on the US and Silicon Valley, right? And what we see now is because of the joint effort and the support, particularly from Norway, for instance, is also a greater interest to basically interact with founders in Norway, right? So one thing is to make founders established back into Ukraine, but also the mentorship to basically interact. And one thing here which is very important, which very few probably think about or know, is actually that the Ukrainian academia is extremely strong on world level, simply because the heritage in Ukraine since the Soviet Union comes out of the previous military industrial complex. And it's an enormous opportunity within technologies in Ukraine, still within research institutions, which kind of still, exists, right? And falls out of shelves and drawers. We have been working very closely in an MOU we have had for many years, as actually the only external organization with the Ukrainian Academy of Science, with many research institutions and universities, to basically commercialize also academia, or basically spin-offs from academia into particularly the Norwegian innovation sector. Our activities in Ukraine has been very donor-driven. The reason why we came to this level, as we currently have with the iHub network, is that we were the biggest operator on behalf of the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs with our innovation system, which was called UNINI, the Ukraine-Norway Network Innovation Initiative. UNINI, it's a difficult name, right? And the same type of project in Moldova, same we also had in Georgia. And that's basically a support already from the Norwegian, let's say, donor sector through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, already back since Maidan 2 in 2014, right? So we were able to build the infrastructure as we currently have today in a public-private partnership relation with the respective cities, because founders do not have much money to pay for, right? A place to sit and to work, right? An internet connection, all these things. But what we've done with Klitschko, we have actually agreed that the city of Kiev supports, the project with our free access to basically the building of the previous Romanov Bank, the bank of the Tsar family, right? It's a historic building, right? Khreshchatyk number 10 on the main street of square, just in the heart of the city. 2,000 square meters approximately. And the reason why is that they lend us the building for several years, right? And then, of course, we are able to reduce the cost on office costs and so forth. The same we have with Sadowy and his administration in Lviv, the mayor of Lviv. And the same we have with Vinica, right? If not, we wouldn't have been able to do this. And that also, in donor-wise, from a Norwegian point of view, means a great contribution from the Ukrainian side. This is, the way it's been set up. So that's why we were able to build, the innovation system of network to a sustainable level, right? Which is quite rare out of Norwegian bilateral projects, but we were able to do so. And it is important to understand those strong aspects with the innovation system and entrepreneurship structures in Ukraine, which originates back, I would say, from academia all the way back from the Soviet times.
And in closing, Steinar, if you could point out to some specifics that we could take in, learning from what the Seed Forum International and iHub has been doing in Ukraine. What can we implement in Norwegian, both in the public sector and, of course, to make sure that Ukrainian refugees are successful in Norway with regards to business and startups. Just some simple to the point points of learning. What can we do in Norway to ensure that Ukrainians succeed in business in Norway?
First of all, to make things happen, we need infrastructure and methodology, right? Infrastructure-wise, it would be great if we would have an even stronger support from I would say, Norwegian municipality level in the same way as we have been able to achieve in Ukraine, which means basically that the understanding among politicians and bureaucracy at the municipality level needs to be not only to provide grants, support, social security, blah, 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 to refugees, but also to promote opportunity to also actually do a startup within an infrastructure which doesn't really exist today, which we would like to build. There is no reason why Klitschko and Sadowy in Kiev should, provide buildings to Seed Forum, if not the city of Oslo and the city of Drammen and the city of Stavanger would do the same on this side. Right? We're talking about hubs. That is also a take we had from actually our previous panel today, right? We need hubs to work in, meeting points, basically, right? And then networks and all these other things comes around it. That's basic. Secondly, it is the methodology, because within our accelerator program, we have designed it related to culture. So it means that we're quite tough in the accelerator aims when it comes to founders in this part of the world, right? In Norway, so far, we're more the American way. But if we look at the accelerator program, for instance, in Ukraine, for entrance, for instance, we have amended the program so it also, for instance, has a particular module for fixing traumas, right? So it's an amended program, and you need to do that particularly for some specific groups, right? Which we, for instance, have done for veterans. On top of this, I would have a wish that, generally speaking, politicians and I would say at least lower and even higher level bureaucracy in this country would understand the effect of how entrepreneurship would actually, using more of the donor money practically, right, that we are actually providing to Ukraine, to build infrastructure, in the receiving country, to basically evolve, the new economy and support local guys and girls, right? Basically to do own startups. That is a very, very important thing, which is, It's coming, but it's coming very slow. When we see some, I would say, some units in Norway, some public units in Norway, which could really do a little bit of new thinking in that regards. That's my biggest wish.
Thank you so much, Steinar. And I think we all can agree that the way forward includes Ukrainian entrepreneurs, both in Norway and Ukraine. I thank you for sharing your insight and your experience in the field. So please give a hand to Steinar Korsmo. And the cooperation between SMB Norway and Carpathian Sea Democracy Week will continue at 3 o'clock with a new panel in this tent. So I thank you for joining us right now, and I kindly ask you to join us again in 30 minutes for the next panel. Thank you so much.
Dear friends, we'll start now. Could we please stand up for the minute of silence and the national anthem of Ukraine with the memory of the fallen heroes?
Триває війна, розв'язана Росією проти України. Щоранку о 9-й годині на всій території нашої держави згадуємо українців, які віддали своє життя. Всіх. А всіх, хто воював, усіх військових та всіх цивільних, дорослих та дітей, усіх, хто міг би ще жити, якби Росія не почала цю війну. Вічна пам'ять кожному, хто загинув за Україну.
Thank you. Dear friends, welcome to the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub at Arendals UKA that will take place now regularly every year here at Arendals UKA. That is co-organized by different organizations: the Capacity Democracy Week, the Ukrainian Arendals UKA, Norwegian Helsinki Committee, SMB, Noria, the Arendals Kalina, the Shvena Rota, and many other organizations. We invite all organizations to join and also to co-organize your own panels at the next Capacity Democracy Week and at the next Arendal UKA within the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub. We will have today the very important topic to discuss: mayors at war, and how the Ukrainian mayors transition into wartime leaders, and how the Norwegian mayors can prepare to the war. We will have with us the media, coming from the Sumy Cordon Media that is located directly on the front line. And we will have also with us the 5 frontline mayors from Sumy region. Please go to the stage. And we will have also the, just in front of you, the Oystein Djupedal painting, the painting that is for the charity event that will also be conducted further on by the Sumy Cordon Media. And this is the painting of the founder of Arendals UKA, and it will be, the money will go to buy the car for the front line for the military, together with the Ukrainian freedom convoys. So please welcome the mayors.
So, hi everyone. My name is Alona, and I'm a CEO and co-founder from media from Sumy region. And now, all of these mayors here, me and my journalist work every day in this community under fire on front line, and we know about this community all. So some questions for mayor and about their life. This is Mykola. Mykola is a leader of community more than 26 years. And 4 years now, he is leader under fire. Mykola live and his village is later and close to the border. In Mykola's second floor on his home, we can see Russia. And you know, one winter evening after shelling, I come to visit to Mykola community. And in less than 2 hours only after the shelling, and all broken window and roofs were fixed. It's really fast recovery, and they even put new glass, not boards, because life, even in war, should stay and beautiful. So my next questions will be in Ukraine, and Svetlana help me with translate, yes? With speaking with leaders. Пане Микола, да, значить, я говорила про те, що ваша громада знаходиться на самому кордоні, постійно обстрілюється, і будинок, в якому ви живете, на даний момент жили, і вся сім'я жила, з другого поверху цього будинку видно Росію. Тобто от настільки близько пан Микола і його сім'я проживає. Я згадала, як одного разу взимку я приїхала до вас в громаду, вже було темно досить, бо взимку пізно темніє, і за 2 години, менше ніж за 2 години після обстрілу, вікна і дахи були зроблені. А ще ви та громада, яка відрізняється тим, що після обстрілу вікна не забивають дошками, у вікна вставляють скло. І ви завжди говорите, що навіть посеред війни люди мають жити, люди мають бачити світло, вони мають бачити і розуміти, що все буде добре і життя триває попри всі ці жахи. Чому це важливо?
Ну, дивіться, добрий день всім. Ви знаєте, це така була, мабуть, така, ну, наша ідентичність була така, таке бажання доказати ворогу про те, що він він близько, він бачить, він розбиває, він думає, що ми будемо панікувати. Але ми йому доказували, що все рівно ми тут, ми господарі цієї землі, і ми тут будемо жити. Він думав про те, що якщо він зруйнував будинок, то люди всі побіжать і будуть тікати, да? Виїжджати, тікати і все. А люди жили. І були
Yes, Mykola says maybe it's a part of our identity just to show our enemies that we are here, we are on our land. And even if it is a war in our country, we have to live in a good way. We have to show that we are just on our own land, in our country.
І ще я хочу сказати те, що ми цим хотіли доказати йому, що все-таки те, що він обстрілює, те, що він вбиває людей. До речі, вже в перші дні у нас були загиблі цивільні. От. Але люди все рівно трималися своєї домівки. І колись до нас приїхали, як почалася Курська операція, приїхали з Австралії кореспонденти, і вони задали мені питання, коли побачили нашу землю, розбиті будинки, і побачили людей, які борються, остаються. захищають свої домівки, то він сказав, у вас така прекрасна природа, у вас така чорнозем плодородний, я знаю, за що ви боретесь. Ви боретесь за землю.
Yes. And we are continued just to be in our own place, in our villages, in our towns, and we were defending our land. And we just wanted to prove our enemies, to show our enemies that we are strong. And there was a situation when one delegation from Australia came to our place, and they were so excited. They said to us that our nature is wonderful, it's beautiful. And they said, and now we know why you are fighting so strong. You have a very beautiful country, a very beautiful nature. Now we know it.
І я йому відповів тоді, кажу, да, ми боремося за землю, але не за чорнозем, не за її плодородність цієї землі. Ми боремося за ту землю, на якій ми народилися. Ми боремося на ту землю, в якій знаходяться могили наших батьків і матерів, дідів і бабів. Тобто, ну, розумієте, да? Ми боремося за нашу рідну землю, за нашу історію, за нашу рідну Україну. Там, де ми народились, там, де ми хочемо прожити своє все життя.
Yes, because Australia, they were also excited by our soil, by our rich soil. But our answer was that we are not only fighting for the rich soil of Ukraine, we are fighting for our country, for our people. We are fighting for our cemeteries where our parents are buried. That's for we are fighting.
І як доказ тому, в перший день війни, 5 годин ранку, коли ворог, росіяни зайшли в нашу громаду, наша громада перша, одна з перших, в яку зайшли вони, то через день уже самі цивільні люди, не маючи зброї, з охотничими рушницями, навіть з ножами, але згуртувалися і більше 100 чоловік чинили супротив, по-українськи, правильно, да? Чинили супротив окупантам.
And our people, from the very first day of the war, when the enemy came to our land at 5:00 a.m. in the morning, our people, they just gathered together, and we had over 100 people. They were civil people who just were ready to fight without weapon.
Наша громада трималась до останнього, але, на жаль, сьогодні ми маємо такі не дуже приємні факти, тому що громада наша, частина є окупована, а частина повністю розрушена. На сьогоднішній день в нашій громаді немає жодного жителя. Ми всі повністю евакуйовані, тому що там нема можливості. Є територія, але нема людей. Нема можливості жити. Зруйновані всі адміністративні приміщення, зруйновані школи, зруйновані медицинські заклади, дитячі садочки, бібліотеки, культурні заклади. Знищено все. І знищені всі будівлі людей.
Our community was fighting to the last, but unfortunately now there is no possibility to live here. We have a territory, but we have no infrastructure to live. Schools, hospitals, all the infrastructure, it was ruined. It's a problem. All the people were evacuated.
Але ми віримо в те, надіємося, живемо з надією про те, що ми переможемо, війна закінчиться, буде мирний час, і ми повернемося до своїх домівок, відбудуємо установи, зробимо їх ще кращими і знову будемо народжувати дітей, вчити їх і жити далі. Ми віримо в Україну, ми віримо в перемогу.
But we strongly believe in victory. We have a big hope. Our Ukraine will be renewed. We'll be living in a new country. New people will be born. We'll start everything from the beginning.
And one more question for Mykola. So, I was in your community in this match. It's only 6 months ago. And Frontline was in your community. But in this time, culture life stay alive in this community. And libraries, churches, work, concerts, and all of this. So you know and know on the ground basis all about life under fire. Why you do it? And да. І чим можете поділитися?
Ну, дивіться, мета була одна – жити до того, щоб хоч якась крапля надія є для того, що ми тут останемося жити, ми трималися до останнього. Але настали такі часи, що вже фактично неможливо було жити, тому що села почали окуповуватися.
As I said, we were fighting to the last. When there was just a little hope, we were there. We were on our own land. But unfortunately, the enemy occupied our territory.
Це були тяжкі часи, і користуючись нагодою, що я сьогодні в Норвегії, я хотів би подякувати всім тим людям, всьому норвезькому народу за ту допомогу, яку вони надають Україні.
It was a very difficult time, but today, when I am in Norway, I want to say a big thank you to Norway, to Norwegian people for the huge support.
І мені сьогодні приємно було бачити тут саме Ларса, який був модератором.
I was so happy to see here today Lars, who was a moderator.
А також наш друг, наш товариш
And also our friend Tur.
Це ті люди, коли нам було дуже тяжко, вони пригнали нам машину екстреної медицини.
These are people who, in the most difficult times for us, they just brought a very important car for us to help us.
Ця машина спасла більше 50 людей життя.
And this special car, she saved over 50 lives.
Вона вивозила поранених цивільних людей, людей, яких маломобільні, які не могли виїхати потім, коли евакуювали наші села. От, то ми цією машиною вивозили.
With the help of this car, we could help many wounded, many people who were sick. It was just a big help for evacuation.
І сьогодні ця машина працює в нас, надає допомогу саме тим людям, які евакуювалися, але вони маломобільні, вони не рухаються. І ця машина швидкої допомоги, яку пригнали з Норвегії наші волонтери, вона сьогодні працює для жителів нашої громади. Тож ми ще раз всім вам вдячні. Я знаю, що ці люди, ці волонтери, вони багато машин пригнали. Більше, наскільки я знаю, більше 380 там, чи майже 400. От. І ці машини цивільні сьогодні допомагають не тільки нашій громаді, а всьому прикордонню, мабуть, України.
And this car is still helping our people in Ukraine. And, you know, volunteers from Norway, they helped to bring to Ukraine over 300 cars to the whole territory of Ukraine. And this is a huge help to Ukraine, a support also.
Дуже радий, що маю можливість на норвезькій землі подякувати норвезькому народу за ту допомогу, яку вони сьогодні надають. І скажу навіть більше, мабуть, разом з нами борються за перемогу проти цих окупантів, проти фашистів, росіян, там, як їх назвати сьогодні, я не знаю, як назвати, але це не люди. Це не люди. Якщо людина вбиває людину, цивільну, малу, стару, то це не людина, це істота. То ми всі разом боремося проти цих істот.
And I am so happy today to be here in Norway and to say thank you personally to Norway as a country, to Norwegian people for the huge help. They help us to fight with the enemy. The enemy is cruel. They kill our children. They kill our people. They are not real human beings. They are just beings. Thank you.
So, Sumy region, it's have a longest border with Russia. It's more than it's more than 1,500 kilometers together with Russia. So, and now these three beautiful guys, all of them is its leader of communities of Konotop district. Konotop district was occupied by Russian army in first hours when war started. So people who lived in our communities didn't understand what to do and what was happening, and you don't know too. But all of us choose stay between. But all of us choose stay with people and in our community. So it's a question: how did you choose between your safety and your mayor's duty?
Доброго дня, шановні присутні. Ну, як було вибрати? Дійсно, ми не знали перші дні, на перший день не знали, що робити. Потім все прояснилося, все вияснилося. Ну, як сказала Альона, що ми були окуповані, я скажу не так. Ми були ізольовані. Прапор України висів на кожному приміщенні, він не знімався. Якщо це заходили росіяни, його прибирали, то через певний період часу він був на місці.
The question was about choice, you know. Actually, there were no choice. We were not only occupied, we were also isolated, you know. But the flag of Ukraine, it was actually on every house, on every institution. When somebody just was trying to put it out, the flag immediately was on its place.
Через наші громади проходили логістичні шляхи російських військ на Київ. За період більше місяця ми були в ізоляції. За цей період, так само як через Миколу Івановича, пройшли десятки тисяч бронетехніки, проїхало десятки тисяч росіян.
And through our communities, there were logistics ways of the Russian army. And through our communities were going thousands and thousands numbers of different kinds of technique of Russian army.
У нас завжди була комунікація з обласною військовою адміністрацією, комунікація з певними службами, але ж основна задача була це зберегти життя місцевого цивільного населення. Хоча ми скажемо так, що не змогли ми це зробити у повному обсязі, тому що є за цей період і цивільні, і викрадені, потім повернуті вже з Росії неживими, мертвими, є загинувшими на місці, є розстріляні машини, є розстріляні будинки і так далі.
We had a very good communication with our authority, with our regional authorities, but you know, we were trying to save the lives of ordinary people. It was our main task. We were doing our best, but of course, there were a lot of people who were killed, who were stolen, who were taken to Russia.
Ну, звичайно, саме основне було завдання – це гуманітарна допомога населенню, це і продукти харчування, медична допомога. Це було занадто важко зробити, тому що основні логістичні шляхи були перекриті російськими військами і не давали можливості завозити на наші території ці всі речі.
And our main task was humanitarian help to people, as concerning water, food, clothes. but it was so difficult to do because all the ways were closed. As I've already said, we were isolated.
Ну і завдяки підтримці міжнародних організацій, міжнародних фондів це все нам вдавалося зробити якимись проїзними, непроїзними, іншими шляхами, але ж народ залишився на місці, ні один представник влади із керівників у нас на території Конотопського району 8 громад, ні один голова громади не залишив своїх людей на призволяще.
But with the help of the other countries, people from abroad, we were helping also our people. And all the leaders of our communities, we have 8 communities on our territory, they were on their places. They were helping their people.
Ну і, мабуть, найбільше була радість і за той період, коли більше місяця після цієї ізоляції заходили Збройні Сили України, їх зустрічати, радіти і з надією дивитися в майбутнє, з надією в перемогу. Ми надіємося, що вона буде дуже скоро. Перемога повинна бути чесною по відношенню до України. Території – це не просто території нашої держави. Це, перш за все, людські долі і людські життя.
But the biggest excitement was when the Ukrainian soldiers were coming to our territories. We were waiting for them. It was greeting with tears. Yes, it was a big happiness because our territories is not only territories for us. It is our fatherland.
Хочу теж приєднатися до слів Миколи Івановича, подякувати норвезькому народу, норвезькому уряду за підтримку України і надіюсь, що після закінчення війни у нас будуть спільні розвиткові проекти на розвиток обох держав і на піднесення життя кожного громадянина і вашої держави, і нашої. Дякую.
And I also very thankful, as Mykola Ivanovich already said, thankful to Norway, to Norwegian people. And I hope we will win. And after the victory, we'll have many huge mutual projects. We'll be cooperating. We'll be developing together. Thank you so much.
So thank you. And next question. You stay isolated more than 1 month, but Major, it's about power, and you work with civil people, with business, and with any another group. Your community is, I know, you made like a circle for a life. Some business made bread, some business milk, some business made bread, деякі пекли хліб, хтось молоко, хтось м'ясо, і таким чином ви організували ось це коло виживання всередині громади без зовнішніх постачальників. So, change.
Доброго дня.
Maybe I need to repeat my question in English, no?
Доброго дня. Наша громада була деокупована більше місяця. І те, що сказала пані модератор Альона і мої колеги, дійсно було дуже тяжко в цей час нам працювати, тому що логістичні шляхи були повністю перекриті агресором. Продукти харчування, які в першу чергу необхідні для життя, в той час для того, щоб вижити, не дати ворогу далі йти по території України і продвигатись далі. Нам приходилось приймати.
As Alona said, yes, they were over the months under occupation. As the question was, how did you manage to survive? Yes, because as she knows, the communities they just created such a cycle of life. Yes, somebody was baking bread, somebody was cooking some food. They were all cooperating and gathering together. As a major said, it was not so easy, but the cooperation, the belief of the people could do a lot.
Нам прийшлося прийняти неординарні міри, тому що 14 тисяч населення в нашій громаді, які потрібно кормити і кожен день забезпечувати медициною і всім необхідним.
They were just working in an ordinary situation because there were 14,000 people, and people they just need food, clothes, everything to be alive.
Завдячуючи співпраці влади на території громади, бізнесу, який залишився, і в першу чергу, звісно, людям, які підтримували нас усіх, ми їх. І таким шляхом ми організували місцеве виробництво продуктів харчування. Люди залишилися з продуктами, було що їсти і витерпіли ці 1,5 місяці. Також були проблеми з медициною.
And because of the unity of all the people in community, we just survived. You know, we were isolated, but we just started to produce our own food. We just started to help people with medical equipment, with medicine, and it was not easy period, but we did it.
І коли ці 1,5 місяця ми устояли, і ця нечисть ушла з території нашої громади, то ми почали далі допомагати нашим захисникам. І до сьогоднішнього дня їм допомагаємо спільно з вами, мешканцями Норвегії, норвезьким урядом, за що, користуючись нагодою, також вам дякую. Тому що, як говорять в нас на Україні, гуртом і батька легко бити. От гуртом ми поборемо всю цю нечисть і переможемо. І плюс ще те, що Україна – це держава, яка не йде в Європу. Один з географічних центрів Європи знаходиться на території України. Так що ми вже частина Європи. І гуртом все в нас вийде. Слава Україні! Разом до перемоги!
You know, we were 1 month and a half under occupation, but we survived. And after that, we just started to help our soldiers. All together in unity, because when we are united, we can do a lot. And you know, we strongly believe that we will win. Together with your help, we will win. And we will be living in a beautiful world. Thank you.
So, thank you. I have a time for one more question to... Yeah? Okay. One more question for Konotop region, community mayors. When your community was deoccupied and I think de-isolate, okay, some people left this community and relocate in another Ukrainian region. And some people left their houses because of Russia. And you, like a community leader, make a choice, buy for community money some houses. And people who stay without houses, it's will be free to stay in new community houses. It's so talk about how you think about it and what is now. What about this choice?
після деокупації в нас виникла ще одна проблема. Мешканці нашої громади, частина виїхали, частина залишилась під зруйнованим житлом. Громада прийняла одноголосно рішення, дякуючи депутатському корпусу, 100% було прийнято рішення на виділення коштів з бюджету громади на ремонт тих помешкань, які можна було відремонтувати і які повністю були зруйновані, то ми за кошти громади людям придбали нове житло, тому що в населених пунктах є будинки, які набагато були дуже в гарному стані, і було краще придбати готовий будинок, чим його будувати.
Yes, after the occupation, some people, they just left our territory, but some people, they were without a place of living. And that's why we made a decision, those 3 houses who were without people, uninhabited, we just decided to give to those who was in great need. And up to now, we just lead this course. We doing all together, we are helping each other. And it was, he said, it was an easy decision. I didn't think a lot. It just was, situation was difficult, we had to do something. We did it without thinking too much.
But it was a really good decision, and thank you for Konotop District Mayors. So, and my last questions. Дистрикта Конотопського району, мером Конотопського району, дякую. All of us, yeah. No Konotop Mayor, no Konotop. Konotop District, communities. So, and my last question to Mayor of Lipova Dolina. Lipova Dolina, it's a community, I think, 100 kilometers from border, like this. Like this, yes. And now, I think it's so close to front line, like we stay in Norwegian. But in some region, it's really long. It's a really more kilometers. So now you organize in your community people who relocated from Hotin Gromad, from any another frontline communities to your community. What are you doing? Maybe you building houses, you building school, or something like this, or maybe in new workplaces for these people. What are you doing, and why people from frontline, from border, choose your community for living?
Доброго дня. Я, на відміну від своїх колег, не буду розповідати про початок війни. Він десь був приблизно однаковий. До нас, коротко скажу, що до нас тільки в одне село зайшли російські війська, був невеличкий бій, потім вони вийшли і більш не заходили, але були ми ізольовані з 3 сторін. Відбувалося все аналогічно, як в інших громад. Все ми витримали, все зробили. Ніхто із нашого керівництва нікуди не втік, всі залишились на своєму місці. Але зараз наша основна задача – це приймати людей, які вимушено переселені. Ми прийняли декілька сот.
I will be not talking too much about the beginning of the war. It was just the same situation. I just want only to tell that the Russians came into our village during the first days of the war. They came and they just went out, but we were isolated. We were isolated from the 3 sides. But our community, our people were doing all their best to survive, to be alive.
Декілька сотень людей ми розмістили в сільських будиночках, а зараз настала така проблема або нова подія. За допомогою міжнародних партнерів ми будуємо нові містечка для переселенців. В першу чергу це будуть заселятися люди, які мають багато дітей. На цьому етапі вже на сьогодні побудовано 4 будиночки. Я думаю, за місяць вони будуть поставлені і потім буде приєднання.
But we are helping people from the other communities, especially we are helping people from the border region, those who just they don't have any places to live, they come to our community. I don't know why they choose our community, because maybe we are friendly, we help each other, and now we are just building 4 houses, and I hope these houses will be ready in a very short period of time.
У нас в громаді створена соціальна програма, і ми по цій програмі допомагаємо всім переселенцям коштами, слухаємо їм їхні всі потреби, і дрова, і харчі, і багато чого інше. Але давайте скажіть.
In our community, we have created a special program to help people from the other regions. And we help people with everything. We help with food, with clothing, we help with medicine.
Але основна наша болюча проблема, як і проблема всіх громад і регіонів України, це те, що наших більше 500 хлопців воює, і десятки загинули і поранені. Дуже боляче дивитися на сім'ї тих людей, які втратили своїх синів, чоловіків і рідних. Це саме болюче. Але ми віримо в перемогу, все для неї робимо, і вона обов'язково настане. Слава Україні!
Yes, we work together, but maybe the most difficult task for us and the most challenging is that over 500 of our people, they are in the war. Many of them were killed. These are our children, our parents, our brothers and sisters. And it's a big trauma, but we believe in our victory. We will win. Slava Ukraini!
Є питання ще?
I think...
Дякую.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here. I'm just a local politician from Arendal. And what I'm thinking, what's happening with the occupied areas in Ukraine, and if you shall, how the war shall end. Will these occupied areas go back to Ukraine, or will Putin have this border so you lose it? The other thing I think is that the Norwegian government you are very grateful for the support from the Norwegian government, but and you're talking about 4 houses. We need many millions. And the Norwegian government makes so much money for this war with industry, energy. So it's so important that we understand if you lose this war, we will have a huge immigration into Europe of refugees. So the politicians who is running our country must wake up more than we are today.
І політики в нашій країні, вони повинні думати трішки більше на цю тему. Це дуже важливо.
And you come here to Arendalsuka. I know how long you've been travel with buses, trains, planes.
Ви приїхали на Арендалуки, і я знаю, як довго була для вас ця подорож. І автобусом, і поїздом, і літаком.
So I hope it should be more people here.
Я думаю, що тут повинно би було зібратися трошки більше людей.
But you are now doing a very good job. You're telling about this story, about the terrible happening in your
А саме
country.
зараз ви виконуєте дуже хорошу роботу. Ви розповідаєте вашу історію.
So we small local politicians, we will fight for your case.
І із цими місцевими, з вами, з місцевими політиками, і ми будемо про це розмовляти.
Thank you.
Дякую.
Дякую. Добрий день. I'm Sheena. I'm a Norwegian nurse.
Я норвезька медсестра.
I've volunteered in the front lines of Ukraine. In
Вона волонтер.
Bakhmut, Kharkiv,
Бахмут, Харків,
Kherson,
Херсон,
Pokrovsk.
Покровськ.
I haven't been to Sumy, but I've been close.
Я була там дуже близько, так, це до мене близько.
What I want to say is that Norway needs to learn from Sumy and other areas because we also have borders against Russia.
І каже, ми тепер маємо навчитися взяти урок добрий, тому що ми також на кордоні з Росією.
We are not prepared.
Ми не готові.
The medical services are not prepared.
Наша медична служба не готова.
So we need to learn more from you. So you need to share more, not only to mayors in Norway, but others as well. So thank you for coming to Norway.
Ми маємо від вас навчитися, що робити. І мають всі від вас навчитися. І ми дякуємо, що ви приїхали в Норвегію. Ви повинні з іншими ділитися цим.
Дякую.
Yeah, and I want some words for finish. So, you know, all of these mayors, it's really powerful.
Вона вважає, що
And
ви дуже сильні люди.
theirs have amazing experience in organization life under fire.
У вас прекрасний досвід, як організувати життя під час обстрілів.
Life for civil people, normal
Як
life
зберегти життя цивільних людей.
in the middle of the war.
Як вести нормальне життя посеред війни.
And now you know how you can prepare for war.
Ви тепер вже знаєте, як треба готуватись до війни, як треба бути приготованим.
And I think all of these mayors and maybe some more, I think they are willing to share with you and
І я думаю, що всі ці
All
мери,
of
може
this
хтось з
experience.
них, вони можуть з вами поділитися своїм досвідом, можуть розповісти про свій досвід.
they need our help.
Вони потребують нашу допомогу.
Because this war, it's not only about Ukraine, it's about all civilization world and all democratic country and Norway too.
Тому що ця війна, вона не стосується тільки України. Це не тільки про Україну. Ця війна, вона стосується всього цивілізованого світу, всіх країн.
So, thank you. Thank you
Дякую.
for support.
Дякуємо за підтримку.
we are going to start our next panel. Unfortunately, we have been waiting for one of the panel participants. He's still running, but we will start already it right away. So I would like to ask the panelists to join me here on the stage. But first and foremost of all, we will have we'll stand up for the minute of silence and the national anthem of Ukraine. But before that, if you have seen, like, there is the phone, the blue phone somewhere here on the chairs, just let us know, me or my colleague. So now, please, yes. No, it's not. It's similar, but it's a blue one. Yes, so now we'll stand up for the minute of silence and the national anthem of Ukraine to award the memory of the fallen hero.
Триває війна, розв'язана Росією проти України. Щоранку о 9 годині на всій території нашої держави згадуємо українців, які віддали своє життя. Всіх. А всіх, хто воював, усіх військових та всіх цивільних, дорослих та дітей, усіх, хто міг би ще жити, якби Росія не почала цю війну. Вічна пам'ять кожному, хто загинув за Україну.
Thank you. Dear friends, welcome to the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub at Arendals UKA, launched first year now and that are going to take place every year since. Thanks to the collaboration of the Capacity Democracy Week, Ukrainians Arendals UKA, SMB Noria, Norwegian Helsinki Committee, Kalina Arendal, and also Arendal Library and many other co-organizers. All of you can join, and together, already next year, we can build much more bigger Ukrainian hub. I would like to invite our panelists to join our panel, but before that, we'll show a small video. I think you can sit. We'll show a small video. What is it, the Ukrainian Arendals UKA Capacity Democracy Week?
Демократичний тиждень Карпатського моря є аналогом демократичних фестивалів у всіх країнах Північної Європи та Балтії, які демонструють ефективність об'єднання суспільства для для розвитку національного добробуту та діалогу, спрямований на посилення співпраці між Україною та країнами-партнерами на рівні органів влади, мерів, громадського сектору, правозахисників, політиків, парламентарів, юристів, економістів, митців, журналістів, лікарів, волонтерів, активних громадян у абсолютно всіх сферах – від політики, регіональної співпраці, економіки, безпеки, енергетики, креативних індустрій, соцсектору, медицини, культури для обговорення шляхів консолідації зусиль для наближення перемоги України.
The opening of the very first Carpathian Sea Democracy Week, a historical day for discussion, dialogue and partnership to support Ukraine's democracy. During this week, you are arming yourself with ideas, solutions and partnerships, preparing for a peaceful and democratic future after the war.
Let's download the victory together.
I look forward to the Carpathian Sea Democratic Week. It's the place where everyone has to be, whether from business, government, civil society or academia.
Back to Iceland because today they are voting and they are preparing the Ukraine package support.
For a 5-year guarantee for support for Ukraine.
Шановні друзі, запрошую вас до Шкальця, міста, яке цього року стає центром важливих міжнародних дискусій.
Новий унікальний формат в Україні, коли кожна організація може організувати власну панель з власними спікерами і порядком денним. ДТКМ є кульмінацією роботи команди за рік як демократичної платформи, що сприяє розвитку євроінтеграції, ефективній співпраці між громадським, політичним, культурним, освітнім секторами, бізнесом між Україною та країнами Європи. Вдячні нашим спікерам 2024 року, заступнику голови Верховної Ради України, президенту парламенту Норвегії, президентці Нордичної Ради, президенту Балтійської асамблеї, міністерці культури Латвії, міністру податкової політики Данії, засновнику Арендальсюке та багатьом іншим. ДТКМ – практична платформа для рішень, дій і синергії між громадами, експертами та міжнародними партнерами. У час війни і перебудови країни саме згуртованість, адвокація інтересів України за кордоном відіграє ключову роль у посиленні підтримки України міжнародними партнерами, що в свою чергу наближає нашу перемогу.
Thank you. And now please welcome our distinguished panelist, Amy Becker, the Ambassador of Canada, Mikael Eriksson, Ambassador of Sweden, Member of the Storting, Ulla Elvestuen, Frid Ort Chair, Bård Vegat Soleil, Director of NHO, Idar Kreutzer, Torstein Korsvold, the Communication Director of NAMO, So it's a very right place for the NAMO, where we are going to have ahead tomorrow's meeting between Trump and Putin. So here is the answer of that it's only the victory is possible from the position of strength. Please take your seats, those who are, so you will not have to be on the rain. There is places here in the front. We have today very important panel, Democracy Under Fire, Alliances for Ukraine's Victory. Today we bring together diplomats, parliamentarians, industry leaders and civil society to explore how alliances, military, economic, political and societal can help Ukraine secure a victory and in doing so protect democracy across Europe. We will discuss urgent need, military solution, long-term strategies and the power of partnership. As we used to say in Ukraine, if you want to go fast, you have to go alone. If you would like to go long way, you have to go together. So please applause for our distinguished panelists. that came together here despite there is a rain and almost the last days of the Arendals Uka. So first of all, I would like to address the questions to our distinguished ambassadors. How is from your country's position, especially we have here the two continents, Europe and Canada, and we have and America, and also we have the very good perspective because the Nordic countries, it's the big supporter of Ukraine. So gathered together, Sweden, Norway, Canada, is of particular importance when we are speaking about the partnership, and especially when we have been also lately speaking about Nordefco plus Ukraine and also other alliances, how to bring the Ukraine's victory closer. So from your country's perspective, why is Ukraine's victory essential, not only for Ukraine, but also for the security of the whole Europe and the world?
Is this one on? Yes. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here with you today, and definitely changed plans to stay because this is very, very important to us. The fight of Ukraine and Ukrainians is a fight that we are all involved in and supportive of. I think it's not just a fight for Ukraine, it's a fight for democracy, it's a fight for human rights, it's a fight for the very way of life that we believe in. And so we all have to be as invested in it as we possibly can be. I think for Canada, we are geographically far away, but we have a huge Ukrainian diaspora. Before the war, it was the largest outside of Ukraine and Russia, and it's grown since then. We know Ukrainians, they're part of our cultural fabric in Canada. So there are very personal reasons for Canadians, in addition to the fact that we need to be standing up for what we believe in, and Ukrainians are doing that every day, 24/7, and we need to support them in every way we possibly can, for them, for you, and for ourselves. So that is why Canada stands with Ukraine until the end. No questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. I think it is a significant moment indeed, and we just have to think about what's going on tomorrow in Alaska to realize that. I think for Sweden and for the Nordic countries in general, and the rest of our friends in the coalition of the willing and so on, I think this is a combination of two things. It's morally the right thing to do, to support Ukraine. It's essential. It's in defense of very, very basic values, which are important to all of us who believe in democracy and human rights. So that's one side of the story. The other side of the story is, of course, that this is very much in our own interest. This is about European security, and it is about the security of the countries in the neighborhood. Sweden does not have a land border with Russia, but we do feel Russian presence. We have been facing Russia for hundreds of years, and we know what it's like. So for us, this is essential. We also have our friends in the Baltic region, and of course, we also have old ties to Ukraine. So for all those reasons, but not least for our own sake, I think it makes very much sense to spend money, resources, and political capital in the support of Ukraine.
Thank you. Norway has a direct land border with Russia, a unique position in the world, in NATO. How does that shape Norway's commitment to Ukraine defense? And how is about so special about Norway in terms of helping Ukraine? In the Norwegian Parliament, what are the main challenges and opportunities in keeping strong support for Ukraine, especially ahead of elections? As Norway has a very unique position to help Ukraine without the possibility, without the debt or without taking any extra obligation on itself.
Yeah, first of all, I think that one of the strengths here in Norway is that now we are here at the Arendalsuka, and you have all the debates that are here, and you can see all the parties are there. It can be fragmented and strong debates. But one of the strengths with the parliament is that when it comes to the support for Ukraine, it's unanimous. And it will be a unanimous Storting or parliament that will support Ukraine also after the election. There's no doubt. And the reasons is that what has been said. It's the principle. Human rights are universal. Democracies has to stick together, and especially in the world where dictatorships are supporting each other stronger. And then, of course, this is a common European defense situation. And of course, what you mentioned, Norway has we are a founding member also of NATO, and have the same neighbor as Ukraine. But what has happened now is that one thing is that, of course, it's a huge strength for all of Europe that Sweden and Finland are in NATO. That it changes a lot and changes a lot for us also. But then, even with the other uncertainty, it was mentioned the meeting in Alaska tomorrow, but the uncertainty also with the US makes it even more important to strengthen the cooperation and the support for Ukraine. For this is definitely a common European defense. And the discussion in the Norwegian Parliament and what the difference with the countries is, of course, the size of the support. Now we strengthen it strongly this spring. With now it's 50 billion kroners this year, or now it's 86. That is the altogether this year. But as you mentioned, we are the only country in Europe that can increase the support without having to take up more loans. And this is, of course, but it depends how we can do it. And what is very important with the last 50 billion kroners that was put up, then it's agreed that we can do this and use it abroad, in Ukraine, in Europe, to strengthen the build-up also of military equipment and what is necessary. And it will not affect the Norwegian economy negatively. And that means that here is a door that was open that now needs to be increased even more, because this is not a competition between Norway and Sweden and who gives most. It has to be, the level that we are at has to be set in on toward what are the needs in Ukraine. And that is kind of like the next step that we have to take, and the next parliament has to take, that you have to increase the support also a lot more, and we can do it, and it has to be set according to what are the needs in Ukraine. And we can be also a strong, I think, especially now with the uncertainties with the US. I mean, finally also the European countries have stuck together much better, and also I include Canada into that. So now we are better set to have the same arguments and the same positions also on towards the US, which is necessary to hold up and strengthen the support for Ukraine. But as with everything else, when it comes to policies and politics, nothing is done until the resources are there and the support are there and is felt in Ukraine.
Thank you. Energy is a critical factor both in the time of war and in the time of peace. So how can the renewable energy partnership can strengthen the resilience and also independence from Russian energy pressure? And do you see the role of the renewable sector of Ukraine's post-war recovery as part of security strategy? And also the question how you can combine all the positions of the chair of the Fritt-Ort, the CEO of the renewable energy, and also before the experience to be the chair of the Nansen program, the chair of the NORAD, who is administering the very big package support of Ukraine. So quite a wide portfolio.
I'll try to, I don't know if you can include all three perspectives, but I'll try.
starting with energy. So, energy is crucial for any economy. You can't run an economy without energy, and not the civilian part, but you can't win a war without energy, right? So when we have invested through civilian support in energy, we also support the ability of Ukraine to defend itself. And that is, of course, what I used to run from Norad, from the government side. But also there are important Norwegian companies in Ukraine, energy companies in Ukraine today, Scatec, Emergent, others who are looking at it. But of course, it's risky. I would add to that so I've seen, of course, the Norwegian government support. I think the military part has become strong. I think the civilian part has become very strong. We are, no offense, but we spend more in civilian than all the other Nordic countries combined. But I think we have to develop the business part. Norway is not always at its strongest when it comes to cooperation between the private and the public sector. And I think energy is of course key to that, because it's so essential, because Norway is an energy nation. We have huge companies, different technologies, and also because of the capacity of the Norwegian, the financial capacity of Norway that Ola spoke to. Just finally, and a bit on the side of this, I chair the Fritt Ord Foundation, which is the Free Word Foundation, that would mean in English, which is Norway's biggest human rights democracy foundation. And we just announced before the summer that we will double what we do internationally from Fritt Ord. And we will direct that towards one region, which is Eastern and Central Europe. And not only Ukraine, but Ukraine will be an important part of it, but also Caucasus, which is an extremely important region these days. So, and our goal is always to be catalytic, to spend resources with others, and to support civil society and human rights organizations there, like Lilia, because we have spoken about it before. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's really of critical importance, and hopefully the Fritt Ord Foundation will also support us further. Fritt Ord Foundation supported 2 of the panels about the independence media in Ukraine at KPSNC Democracy Week. We do hope that also it can also co-organize also the panels here during the Arendals Week next year at the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub. And the question to you, from a business perspective, how do you think the Norwegian companies can balance a solidarity with Ukraine and risk management, and when engaging in partnerships? And what concrete steps can industry take to prepare for Ukraine's reconstruction market?
Thank you very much. Just as a background, I represent NHO, which is the industry federation organizing 34,000 Norwegian companies in all sectors, from energy to finance. I'm also honored to be a member of the Business Advisory Council, an international group of industry leaders advising the Ukrainian government on mobilizing private sector. And let us just reflect a little bit on why that is so crucial. It's crucial for 2 key reasons. One is that the purpose of the bombing from the Russian side is to reduce Ukraine's ability for military defense, but also to undermine the Ukrainian economy and the resilience by the Ukrainian people by attacking crucial societal functions. So during the war, our ability to quickly re-establish, rebuild energy supplies, critical infrastructure, housing, and everything that makes it possible for the Ukrainian society and the Ukrainian economy to work is a key to the Ukrainian resilience in the war to defend against Russian aggression. And that cannot be done without private sector engagement. But also after the war, what everybody wants to see is a prosperous Ukraine, a part of a prosperous European economy. And in that context, EU membership will be important, NATO membership will be important, but the really key is to integrate the Ukrainian economy to the broader European economy as much as possible, as quickly as possible. So that's the purpose of what we are doing. And to look at your question, from the Business Advisory Council, we have, in the first year, we have focused strongly on enabling investments in the energy market to combine the public finances that comes from donor countries with the risk-taking capacity and the technologies from the private sector. And what we see is that the measures that's being taken when seen in context enables exactly that our ability to move forward on that. So the two key sectors now for the private sector engagement is energy and housing, and financing mechanism is the key enabler. And let me also say that we have the Norwegian Ukrainian Business Council present here, which works very closely together with NHO, exactly mobilizing the links between businesses in Ukraine and businesses in Norway.
Thank you. And we have also NAMO, last but not least, but the very closest here. And the NAMO is one of the Europe's largest ammunition producers and now cooperates directly with Ukraine production. So could you please describe the scope and significance of this partnership, and how can other countries multiply their help and, for example, special joint ventures and your experience in Ukraine? Why the Norwegian companies and the companies from Canada, Sweden, and other companies have to move their production facility to Ukraine, and how we can contribute further to bring the Ukraine's victory closer?
Thank you, and thank you. It's an honor to be invited to speak here. This is going to be a bit of a challenge, of course. We have a project of cooperation with a Ukrainian partner. Also, due to security reasons, I will have to be quite fuzzy on the details. But what I can say, it's been very important for us. It's worked exceedingly well. It's been a huge success. We are finding that the Ukrainians are competent. They have industrial skill. They have an industrial tradition. We must not forget that some of the most important European hubs, if you will, for industry on all of the continents, they can be found historically in Ukraine, and this is something we see. And of course, I think still the willingness to do things quickly, non-bureaucratic. It's been going much faster than we expected. And of course, we have different strengths on the Norwegian side: technology, products, supply chain to a certain extent, and not least capital. We have brought some of these to the table. The Ukrainians have brought their industrial system, their ability to build things quickly to the table, and the results have been very impressive. So we are seeing production now, and I can divulge it's artillery shells, which is one of the main products coming after this. We have been seeing volumes and quality, which is very impressive, certainly up to NATO standards. So for us, this has been very good. Of course, I would like to turn this impression around. I mean, there's a lot of talk. We must help the Ukrainians. Well, the other way to see this is it's the Ukrainians helping all of Europe. They are dying and they are experiencing destruction. They are defending democracy, freedom, human rights, And I would always remind people of this. It's really them helping us. And we've seen this collaboration. It's been offloading us in terms of not having to invest and build up new industrial capacity everywhere at the same time. So it's lightened our burden, if you will. And I think in terms of business, we've worked together with the Norwegian government. We've had mechanisms for risk sharing, for helping with funding. So in terms of the pure business part of this, this works very well for us. So it's really been a success story.
And is it any challenges in Ukraine to scale up the production?
Well, I would say no. It's I mean, there are always challenging. The main result, the big picture here is it's been working much better than expected. We're seeing results way beyond what we thought was viable. So I would say no.
Great. And here, actually, you are coming here to Arendalsuka for many years in a row. So what significance, what impact it can make, and especially in the country at war? So what does it mean? And especially also the question to Ulla, why did you come to Ukrainian Democracy Week? What was the idea behind? And how you can encourage others to come and to experience what does it mean, the democracy under constant air threats? And yeah, so how did you feel? Did you feel safe?
Yes, I felt very welcome. And it was very interesting and really something I can recommend for everyone to go to Truskovets and go to this Democracy Week also in Ukraine. And I think it's the same thing as here. I mean, it started with the Almedalsveckan in Sweden, and now we have the Nordic countries. We have Arendalsuka, have Bornholm in Denmark. Finland have it. I understand also it's Latvia. There's also
all the Baltic countries,
yeah,
so all the Northern European countries and Baltic.
And I think what is very unique about this, and it's something that we should not take as something that is take it for granted, is that it's possible to have a democracy week with all the political parties can sit on the same stage and be in the same place, and there's no major quarrels or no major fuss about it. And it's not all countries or even democracies that can have such a democracy week. So that this is also being built up in Ukraine, I think is fantastic. And also from this discussion, I see that the cooperation on every level is being built up. And civilian cooperation, what is necessary with industry, and now also hopefully that we also get the cooperation with the community in Norway and also in Ukraine. And it's really what is the challenge is to scale it up. That is the main challenge. And of course, when you have a democracy week also in Ukraine, now it's very important to in the struggle and the fight for freedom that you're in. But this is of course something that you are to establish for the long term. So this is to be an arena where we can come from all over Europe, also there, to strengthen to learn from each other, strengthen the cooperation, and make it a part of that integrated Europe that Ukraine must become also in the future.
Thank you, Le. Actually, we have been inspired by Arendalsuka to start up our own Ukrainian Democracy Week. But I have to say that and we have been not planning so much during this Arendalsuka because we have concentrated this year on Sweden at Almedalens-vecka, where we had launched Ukrainska Huben. The initiative was actually a Swedish organization that has united all the Swedish, Ukrainian, other countries' organizations that are working with Ukraine. There we had really the Ukraine topic was number one. Unfortunately, it's not was the case in Norway. That's why, like in 2 weeks' notice, we have started the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub. So despite the elections, to have Ukraine very high on the agenda. Yes.
No, but I can then confirm that the Norwegian Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and NHO have just started the discussion about how to help coordinate the activities for the Arendals Uka next year. Because this is important, and just to build on what Ola says, I mean, what are we seeing here? Well, this is an arena for advocacy, for drawing attention, but also to be inspired and build partnerships, all of which is important in your struggle and in our ability to help. So thanks to your initiative and our good dialogue. A lot of us will work together to develop the same kind of a hub here in Arendalsuka next year, because it's an important arena.
Thank you, Ida. And actually, we have been communicating yesterday with the director and the president and the CEO of FERT, and they have really said that together we can make it happen and much more stronger next year. But I will return to Sweden, where everything started from.
Thank you. Well, this is certainly not a beauty contest, so I won't dwell too much on Almedalen. Just to say that this goes back all the way to 1968, when Olof Palme was actually the first one to launch the Almedalen Week. It wasn't called that at the time, but he made it a habit because he always vacationed on the island of Gotland, and he made it a habit of giving a speech at the end of his vacations, and that grew into a party week where all the political parties joined in the 1990s, and from then on we have seen the growth of this festival. I think 2 points. First of all, I think this is fundamentally about democratic resilience. I think this is an arena that is strengthening societies of trust and transparency. And you sometimes hear that Almedalen and maybe also Arendal have become too commercialized. I don't subscribe to that view at all. I think that the fact that you have commercial actors, you have the politics, and you have the public in one place is enormously important. And I do think it contributes to democratic resilience in the long run. I think this is a sort of a Northern European approach to politics that is being exported. And as you probably know, there is now a Democracy Festivals Association where Sweden, Finland, Denmark, the Baltic countries, Norway, Northern Ireland, I think, is also a member.
And Turkey.
And Turkey, right. So they all participate, they share experience, and they share good advice with each other, and they are building slowly and a movement of democracy festivals. And again, I do think this is fundamental for the resilience of democracy.
Thank you. Actually, we are now applying to become also the member of this association. And yes, I agree with you that it's a little bit too commercialized. But I would say that in Sweden it was really much more easier than to organize it here. And only thanks to SMB Norway and also the Arendal Library that we could do it. Otherwise, like the fee of 6,000 that was exposed by the Arendals Week. And it would be, so we are not in the official program, unfortunately, because of that. But we do hope, and the first panel discussion that will be registered for next 2026, it will be the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub. This year we have been the last, as we haven't planned to have our events, but next year we will be the first. So I do welcome everyone to join us, to organize your own panels. It's a platform, so every organization can co-organize their own panel. And I would like also, the board has also a lot of efforts contributed to the success of Arendalsuka.
Yes, first, Arendalsuka was started, it was inspired by Almedalsveckan, basically. Due credit to that week, which is like we hear from the ambassador, much older. But I think it's worth noting that even though we think of it as a very Nordic thing, there's actually a network of democracy festivals for most European countries. So there are many other. They are different, but it's not only a Nordic idea. Even though I think, having been to some of these, of course, what stands out here is the very high level of participation. Around 150,000 people out of 5.2 billion inhabitants, and like several of you have alluded to, the fact that different sectors of society come and cooperate. Then I think the Carpathian Democracy Week, I think it's also worth noting that every effort I know about this kind starts small. You have to start somewhere, and you have been able to do that. And the important thing is to build infrastructure and build an institution, to institutionalize it, to get good partners that you can rely on over time. And I think having a more organized presence during Arendalsuka will help you doing that.
Thank you. And to Canada. So Canada and Arendalsuka. So what do you feel about it? Do you have kind of this festival in Canada?
I think just given the size of our country, it's very hard to bring everybody together in one place. But I think it's a really, really powerful thing. And one of the questions that occurred to me sitting up here, and I just wrote it on the back of my paper, is urgency over time. Because it's very easy from Canada, when Ukraine was illegally invaded, everyone stood up and noticed and wanted to be part of it and wanted to respond. But all this time later, how do you keep your population seized with the urgency? How do things not become bureaucratic, as you mentioned? How do you continue to ensure that it's not just one person sitting on a panel somewhere saying, yes, this is still important to Canada, but that Canadians are still standing up and saying, yes, this is important to Canada, and haven't moved on to something else, because that's a huge risk. So these kinds of events where you bring together political parties, where you bring together non-governmental organizations, where you bring together private sector, and where those discussions are publicly taking place, are critically important to remind everybody why this matters for somebody sitting in rural Manitoba as much as it matters for somebody sitting here, as much as it matters for somebody fighting for their life and their country in Ukraine. And so I think the initiative that you're talking about, the expansion of it, being able to have these sorts of discussions in a public place is really, really important. Not just to have the public backing, but to make us not become bureaucratic in our responses, to make it not just be, another day that we're talking about the same issue, but that it's still urgent. And it's still the most important thing, and we still need to have it on the top of every single agenda. So I commend you for pulling this together. I know you did it quickly, and hopefully next year we'll be in an entirely different situation. But if we are not, then we will be here in force to support you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, urgency is still not in the air, at least not in the Arendalsuka. That's why we feel obliged to make it, even when we have only around 2 weeks for us. And that's why we have also with us NAMO, that is of critical importance of Ukraine, because the democracy has to be equipped not worse than the tyranny. And here is also the answer, how the victory can be achieved only from the strength position.
Well, I'm not sure I will be able to provide the answer from on stage here, but I can give you a few numbers for illustration. I mean, as an industry, the defense industry, we've been through some tough times. I think everyone wishes there was no need for us, but unfortunately there is. But we've been through 3 decades of post-Cold War, a time of laying off little activity, few orders, And I think Europe as a continent has not at all been able to, retain their industrial capacity to produce, to make ammunition, to make main battle tanks, to make air defense, to make missiles, and so on. And we found ourselves at the outbreak of this war, and of course, a lot of us knew for years before this we were in trouble. We found ourselves at the start of this war in a very problematic situation. We were supposed to build up, and the industrial capacity just was not there. And it takes years. Some of the machines we are ordering, they have a delivery time of 2.5 years. We have to train people who are doing the work in the factory. We have to strengthen our supply lines. There's a company called Chemring Nobel. They are one of just a handful in Europe making high explosives, pretty much needed for all kinds of combat systems and weapons. And their capacity, I mean, together with a lot of the other producers of high explosives, as little as probably, based on open sources, these are not our numbers, maybe down to 500,000 per year total production capacity, enough to make 500,000 artillery shells. The short-term need just for NATO to refill their stocks and for maybe a year's usage in Ukraine is maybe 20 million. So that would take us, as a combined European industry, 40 years to make. And we're seeing a picture like this in a lot of these sectors. So I think we went too far, not keeping up the capacity in the industry. We are racing to rebuild. I think a lot of the sense of urgency, which has been mentioned here, I think it's been too slow. It's sinking in. A lot of things have happened. A lot of governments have started to support us with funding and resources, but we've been really slow out of the starting blocks. So, but much more is coming online now. And I hope, I represent the company making rocket motors and ammunition for tanks, for artillery, rocket motors for air defense. Our rocket motors probably power maybe 30%, maybe more of everything that's shot down in Ukraine by air defense. I hope we will be able to supply NATO allies and Ukraine with much, much more. Unfortunately, this is a process taking quite a lot of time.
Thank you. Yes, it's a very way too slow, and also the effectiveness, like the bureaucracy kills very often the effectiveness, and also the slow down the victory. We have very, very effective way of cooperation between the civil sector in Ukraine and the military sector. It's very unusual combination, but this is combination that proved to be very efficient, especially in the first days of the full-scale war, when the Ukrainian volunteers, activists, and also the Norwegian volunteer activists, Swedish volunteers activists, they have gathered together and helped to speed up. For example, we didn't have, the Ukrainian military didn't have the vests. So I have been packing myself together with the Norwegian volunteers, the vests and the drones for the Ukrainian army and the customs. They have stopped us and say, what is that? We said, it's humanitarian assistance. They said, drones, okay, go. But I mean, don't show at our border again, but go now. So, but it was in the beginning when the bureaucracy was not there and we could deliver it very, very quickly. So the same case now we have also in Ukraine when we are speaking about the drones, because now we could actually deliver enough drone for the Ukrainian army, and every drone saves a life. So we could fight with the drones instead of the Ukrainian lives. the lives of the Ukrainian heroes, because Ukraine, as you know, has enough capacity. We can produce and we can supply all of the countries in Europe with enough drones if we will have the investment enough to build it. So it can be even done in Ukraine. Why there is like such a cooperation is so important and efficient, because the drones are tested on the battlefield directly. Actually, as one of the example, we are now cooperating very closely with the Spice Foundation. It will be also in our next panel, when we are, like the military units addressing us, as I have been working with them, with the military units since 2022, and asking about the drones. And then we are having, like, we have special, like, we see what are the requests, and we are addressing the drone producer. And then the drone producer and the military unit, they are working together. What are the specific tasks, and they are adapting each drone to the task of each military unit. And then it's 2-3 weeks from the request to manufacturing and delivery. So this is like the one organization, not a big one, it's only 2 years old. We have already were able to deliver 60 Ukrainian produced drone, not like drone Mavic, but the high advanced drone system to the Ukrainian army, thanks to the cooperation with Norwegians. So this is the way also to go further, and because the strong civil society is very important and vitally important. I would like here just to address, if you would like to give one, we have here the also Ukrainian mayors from the frontline region, they came here. So if you would like to deliver one message to the Ukrainian mayors from the front line that came all this way from Ukraine to Norway to find out because they are also the participants of the Capacity and Democracy Week. Actually, in Sweden, we could establish 12 partnerships between 12 Ukrainian and 12 Swedish cities. Unfortunately, in Norway, it's much more difficult. So I would encourage, if you know any mayors of Norwegian cities that would love to have the partnership, here is the chance. They can address us, and we will help with that. So if you can just tell what, one sentence to the Ukrainian mayors that are present here, and also to the especially ahead of the Norwegian election, what it would be. Who would like to start?
Yeah. No, I'm happy to. I'm happy to start. I would like to say that we are so impressed and inspired by your courage. We know that you are fighting our war, and you are not alone.
So first, good to see you again. We met last year also here. Remember that you are now part of Europe, which means that we support your war and you fight our war, like Idar said. And we have to win this together. That's why you have our support, but that's also why so many people in Norway and every country are fighting to support even more in the years to come.
And I also want to thank you for being here, and thank you also for you being in this struggle and being in this fight. I must say I'm sorry that our support has been so slow. The understanding was quick in Europe, but it's been too slow, the support. So we have to build up a stronger support from Norway's side. It has been much stronger and scaled up. But at the same time, we have to increase the cooperation on every level. And that's why it's also so important that you are here, that we also see that we need to build this cooperation, also local communities, businesses, and on every level. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, what I would like to say at this stage is really to repeat what has been said many times. We will be standing with you for as long as it takes. And the reason why I dare to say that is that, at least in the Swedish context, it's the same thing here in Norway. There is a complete political agreement across the board, from left to right, that this is the right thing to do. There are no dissenting voices really, but a consensus in the Swedish society that this is a war that Ukraine has to win, and we will be with you for as long as it takes.
So from Canada, and on behalf of Canadians, thank you for your courage, for your commitment. We will also stand with Ukraine until the end. It's for Ukrainians to decide the future of Ukraine, and we will be right there with you.
Thank you. Never give up. We stand with Ukraine.
Thank you. And actually, to help is very easy. If there is a way, there is always a way to help. There is no small actions. There is always, because it will lead to a drop in the ocean. Drop will lead to the ocean. We have also today the charity auction for the Øystein Djupedal, the founder of Arendals Uka painting, that would be also could bid, and we will buy for this money the car for the Ukrainian military together with the Ukrainian freedom convoys. So if you would like to help or bid, you can address later me or my colleague. And also I would like to, just to wrap up, I would like to each of you personally. So if you could choose one action, what would you do personally during the 1 month, for example, to come to bring Ukraine's victory closer? Yeah, Idar, if you can start.
Yeah, no. We have just re-established the newly elected Business Advisory Council, and we are starting our work this month. And we are pulling together experts from as far as Japan and North Korea to Canada and European countries. And I can firmly confirm that we will do what is necessary to help mobilize the private sector in Ukraine.
Thank you.
Well, personally, I donate regularly, but professionally, like you've already said, I've been working with this in many instances, really, from my last job to my new one to Frito, and that's what I do.
It's an easy question, because from the Liberal Party here, it is to win an election and be in a position to increase the support for Ukraine.
Well, I think on a personal level, I think spreading the word and making sure that friends and relatives and acquaintances are as committed to the cause of Ukraine as I feel that I am, and I think that's where you have to start, where you have to begin.
So I just had a conversation the other day with the Canadian ambassador to Ukraine. I know that the Norwegian ambassador to Ukraine they're switching this summer, and she's coming back. The two of them are very close, and we've planned a conversation coming up to talk about how together Canada and Norway might be able to do even more than we are doing from here to support our efforts in Ukraine, in addition to what's happening from Canada. So that's my exploration that's ongoing.
Yes, I guess for us, as you know, as a representative of the defense industry, the answer is simple as well. We'll keep on working day and night to make more artillery shells, more air defense, more anti-tank weapons, more drone warheads, and so on. So we can supply NATO allies and Ukraine, and help as much as we can to help you win this war.
Thank you. We have a very complex panel. Thank you a lot. Big applause for all the panelists. Thank you a lot. And extraordinary times require extraordinary decision. So be brave as Ukraine. And now we will make the joint photo. But before that, we'll have some small presents from Ukraine to you.
Ми хотіли б вам вручити, ми хотіли б вам вручити частину української душі. Це якраз громади привезли із своєї території, щоб ви пам'ятали, що є там українці, які боронять себе і вас.
We would give you as a present a little part of Ukrainian soul. We are coming from the Ukrainian territory, and this is a part of our soul. Just remember about us. Just a minute. Lila. Поставили мужчину. Ліля.
And please also
Ручку дайте. Чого ви спішите? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ой.
And there is also the invitation for the Carpathian Sea Democracy Week that will take place on the 27th of April, 1st of May next year in Truskavets. So you're all very welcome. But now we will make the joint photo and also will receive some certificates to remember about the event in Ukraine. Register already. The registration is open. And the spring is the most beautiful season in Ukraine.
I recommend it, and I promise to come.
Thank you a lot. And the joint photo. Thank you a lot. Thank you. Arendal Kalina, without which organization we would not be able to fulfill any of this event also here. So please. Please stay with us.
Please don't go. It's take 5 minutes. I need translator. Олена, добре, візьміть мікрофон. Vi skal prøve å cover alle behov i språk. Jeg skal snakke to språk, norsk og ukrainsk, og Svetlana skal oversette til engelsk.
I want to present you Olena Vorontsova. She comes from Kristiansand. She is a very active volunteer, yes. In spite of her health state, she is brave. She is helping Ukrainian, and she is going to sing 2 songs for us today.
Første sang det til ungdommen. Перша пісня називається «До підлітків», звернення до підлітків. Den sangen veldig gammelt skrev av Nordahl Grieg, norsk kompositt i 1936 år. Han skrev den musikk, den sang mot fascisme. Og som vi kan se nå, det er veldig aktuelt til nå, fordi historie lærer.
The first song is called To the Youth. It was written in 1936 by Nordahl Grieg, and it was because the fighting against the fascism. But as you can see, it's very actual now.
Зараз я заспіваю пісню для звернення до підлітків, яка була написана в 1936 році проти фашизму. І вона досі актуальна, дуже актуальна. Як ми бачимо, історія вчить для тих, хто хоче вчитися. Так. Krieg satt av fiender går inn i din tid. Under en blodig storm vil deg til strid. Kanskje du spør i angst, udekket åpen. Hva skal jeg kjempe med, hva er mitt våpen? Her er ditt vern mot vold, her er ditt sverd. Troen på livet vårt, menneskets verd. For vår fremtids skyld, søk det og dyrk det. Om du må, men øk det og styrk det. Stilt går granatenes glidende bånd. Stans deres drift mot da, stans den med ånd. Krig er forakt for liv, fred er å skape. Kast dine krefter inn, døden skal tape. Da synker våpnene, maktesløshet. Skaper vi menneskesverd, skaper vi fred. Den som med hørearm bærer en byrde, dyr og umistelig, kan ikke myrde. Dette er løftet vår, fra bror til bror. Vi vil bli gode mot menneskets jord. Vi vil ta vare på skjønnheten, varmen, som om vi bar et barn varsomt på armen. Thank you very much. Tusen takk. En til sang, ukrainsk folksang om muren og blomster. Ukrainere liker blomster.
The second song is about Ukrainian, about the flowers. Ukrainians, they like flowers. They love them.
Чорнобривців насіяла мати у моїм світанковім краю, та й навчила веснянки співати про чудову країну мою. Я на ті чорнобривці погляну, бачу матір стареньку, бачу руки твої, моя мамо, твою ласку я чую, рідненька. Ми розлуки та й зустрічі знаєм. Це так тяжко в чужій стороні. Чорнобривців насіяла мати, насіяла ти навесні. Як на ті чорнобривці погляну, бачу матір стареньку, бачу руки твої, моя мамо, твою ласку я чую, рідненька. Ті чорнобривці погляну, бачу матір стареньку, бачу руки твої, моя мамо, твою ласку я чую, рідненька. Прилітають до нашого поля із далеких країв журавлі, розквітають і квіти доля на моїй українській землі. Як на ті чорнобривці погляну, бачу матір стареньку, бачу руки твої, моя мамо, твою ласку я чую, рідненька. Як на ті чорнобривці погляну, бачу матір стареньку, бачу руки твої, моя мамо, твою ласку я чую, рідненька. Thank you.
Now we have very short 20 minutes panel about the civil society and the role of civil society to bring together the Ukraine, Norway, Sweden and all other countries. Thank you. Thank you. So please join for the panel. Arendal Kalina, the Business Association, the NUK, And we have also the Ukraine's Knoshkvene Forening that is of critical importance. Да, пробирайте. SMB Norway. Ви будете перекладати. Але ви будете представляти. Dear friends, please stand up for the minute of silence and the national anthem of Ukraine.
Триває війна, розв'язана Росією проти України. Щоранку о 9-й годині на всій території нашої держави згадуємо українців, які віддали своє життя. Всіх, хто воював, усіх військових та всіх цивільних, дорослих та дітей, усіх, хто міг би ще жити, якби Росія не почала цю війну. Вічна пам'ять кожному, хто загинув за Україну.
Thank you. Please sit down. Today's discussion that we have within the Ukrainian Democracy and Victory Hub showed that Ukraine's victory depends heavily on the alliances: military, industrial, economic, civil, cultural. And our challenge is to keep these alliances strong, flexible, and unbreakable until democracy prevails. The civil society is Ukraine's backbone from advocacy, resistance, military help, reconstruction. When democracy bleeds, it's civil society that stitches the wound. I'm happy to introduce today our panel with SMB Norway, our great partner without whom it would be not possible to organize such kind of event in 2 weeks' notice. Thank you. I also would like to introduce the CEO of NUK, Kjartan Tveidnes. Here we have with us also a very big friend of Ukraine, Ukrainsk-Norsk Venneforening, Roger Sheiva. We have with us also our Arendal Kalina, our Ukrainian community, without whom it would be very difficult and challenging to organize the event. And we have also with us the Business Association of Ukraine that we have together, that came together from all the way from Sumy region together with the Ukrainian mayors. So my first question would be very short because I would like to give you much more time for to say what is your impression. So how the civil society and whether the civil society can be more effective than the state authorities and how it can make the harmony and to work together in order to bring the victory closer. We have quite limited time, so if you can use 1 minute in order to express what you are doing and how the civil society can really teach the democracy and how it can heal the democracy and heal and bring the Ukraine's victory closer.
Hello, my name is Åsmund Prytz. I'm international coordinator in SME Norway, and we're very happy to host this event today. From our side, it's super important to have a society where you have a lot of small and medium-sized enterprises. We think that's a very sound society where you have a distribution of wealth and income. Also, and you see that free entrepreneurs and free entrepreneurial spirits are often connected also to freedom of speech and a free society in general. And in that sense, it's very important to support the civil society to also become a striving and entrepreneurial society. And from our side, we've been working closely with the Ukrainian refugees in Czech Republic, in Estonia, and we're also happy to have events like this. So that's enough from us right now. Thanks.
Thank you for inviting us. I'm from the Norwegian Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, and from our point of view, sort of the private sector is crucial, of course, to keeping societies alive and functioning. The need to have a job, to receive a paycheck, and to also hinder further migration out of Ukraine is very much important. So for us to support Ukrainian value creation is very much important and critical for the civil society to function as such.
Yes, we don't know the full story of why the president shut down the two anti-corruption agencies in Ukraine, but it was very good to see. It was very impressive to see the reaction from the civil society. So the civil society is very important in Ukraine, and we think that Norway should not only increase its military support, but also increase its support to the civil society, to NGOs and independent medias, and also support our mayors, the municipalities, in their important job to provide services for the people in wartime.
Українське суспільство за свободу бореться з 2014 року, коли
Ukrainian society is fighting for his freedom from 2014.
Коли ми достигли свободи, і зараз ми боронимо цю свою свободу від російських загарбників. І нам, наразі перебуваючи тут, нам гарно відчувати підтримку наших друзів.
We got our freedom, and now we are fighting for our freedom, and we are so happy that here today we feel your support. Thank you. I am a member of Ukrainian volunteer organization Kalina here in Arendal. I've been living in Norway over 11 years, but my son is there. He is in the army. That's why the question of victory is very important for me. Thank you.
have also here the Norwegian volunteer organization. Sheena, if you could please say a few words. Yes.
Thank you. For those that were here before, I've been to Ukraine 5 times. I've been to Ukraine 5 times as a volunteer, a medical volunteer and a humanitarian. 2 first times were humanitarian, 3 last times were on the front line evacuating patients. I would say that now that my family has told me I'm not allowed to go back to Ukraine because of the danger, and I was also injured, I can still do things from home. I can still do things from Norway. There are so many organizations, and every little thing helps. You can collect things, you can help volunteer to help with Ukrainians that are in Norway, just to reach out, to be a friend. Norwegians are really good at that. But there is so much that you can do, and I'm now starting to believe that I can help from home as well. But it is a community thing. I live in Mysen. It's a small community, but I also help in Oslo. But we're now trying to make communities in the little places in Norway as well. Yeah.
Thank you. We have also here with us Shvena Rota, and other Ukrainian community organization, Olena Vorontsova, who is, despite of the health condition, came all this long way in order to sing for us this beautiful song. So let's give applauses to all the volunteer organization. The volunteer organizations that really that stitches the wound and really doing the very great job. Also at the front line, as we have seen with the Ukrainian Freedom Convoys, with Free Ukraine and many other organizations. So if you would have to say one sentence ahead of the Norwegian parliamentarian elections, what it would be this sentence about? Regarding the increasing of support of Ukraine or regarding the situation about the democracy?
I agree completely with Ola. Norway can give more. We need to give more. We're the only country that can do it without affecting Norwegians in general. It's also our war. It's not something just happening over there. It's been said so many times today. They are fighting our war. They are the ones dying for us. We need to do more. And I know that there are several parties that want to give more, and they will be getting my vote. So people need to get up and get out and vote.
Thank you. Now we'll have you.
Знаєте, у нас зараз в Україні є таке розуміння, що є військовий фронт, а є економічний фронт.
Nowadays in Ukraine we have such 2 opinions, that we have a military front and we have a social front.
І я представник економічного фронту.
Sorry, economical, yes. I'm a representative of an economical front.
Я представляю рибододавців Сумщини. Це область, яка межує з Російською Федерацією. У нас кордон 560 кілометрів, і цей кордон зараз превратився в фронт.
I am from Sumy region. I am the head of the entrepreneurs from Sumy region, and we are on the border with the Russia. And this border, it runs over 500 kilometers. And now actually it's a front. It's fighting.
Багато підприємств зруйновано росіянами або припинило своє функціонування наразі. Це градообразуючі підприємства, великі підприємства хімічної промисловості, машинобудування.
Many big factories and plants, they were destroyed by Russians from different branches.
Але наразі бізнес живий. Багато підприємств працює. У мене зараз в руках каталог крафтових підприємств, які частина з них працює благодаря грантів, які поступають від європейської допомоги.
But our business is still alive in spite of the situation. And in my hands, I have this catalog of our factories, entrepreneurs. They are still working. And they are working, they are still alive because of the support from you.
І я вважаю, що це дуже важливо іменно для прифронтових територій, тому що люди повинні мати роботу, повинні бути платитися податки, і взагалі, ну, робота, економіка – це, ну, серце всього руху.
The job and the economy is very important, especially for those who live in the body area, because job for people is very important. It's everything actually.
Тому люба допомога за кордону, яка йде для економіки, це дуже важливо, для військового фронту це теж дуже важливо, тому що наші війська зараз стримали навалу на Суми, і благодаря цьому військовому фронту ми зараз можемо працювати і жити в місті Суми, в нашому рідному місті.
And so each kind of support from abroad is very important. Maybe you know that our militaries that just stop the invaders on our territory in Sumy region, and that's why we can continue to work.
І підприємства в Сумах мають і деякий розвиток. У нас є підприємство, яке під час війни почало виготовлення автобусів в співдружності з французами. Французи поставляють агрегати, а сумське виробництво виробляє автобуси. Того, що не було до війни, воно є зараз.
And during the war, we just started new factories and new plants. For example, we just started a factory of buses. We produce buses with the help of our French partners.
Також є підприємства, які займаються обладнанням для нафтового виробництва. 3 таких аж підприємства в Сумському регіоні. І
there is also a factory which produce some equipment to the oil industry.
І ми наразі приїхали сюди, у мене мета завести контакти і мати діалог уже після цієї поїздки, і підтримати цей діалог і знайти якісь точки розуміння, щоб це було вигідно як норвезькому бізнесу, так і українському.
We come here, and my personal purpose is to find some contacts, to start cooperation which is productive for both sides, for us and for Norway.
Дякую.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Yeah, you asked about elections.
So what would you say if you would like to say one sentence for the Norwegian politicians ahead of the elections? So what would be your main message?
Still support Ukraine and strengthen the support since March 2022. We in Norsk-Ukrainsk Venneforening, we have worked to increase the military and financial support, and it has increased a lot, and we think it's still possible to even triple the support. But I feel confident that the elections are not so important. We have good contacts with all the 3 prime minister parties, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party, the Progress Party. I think it's possible to make them strengthen the support even more.
Thank you, Kjartan.
Yes, I can only echo what Roger here said. We need to engage and collaborate more with Ukraine, both on the governmental side, but also private sector, and of course also on the civil society side. But the elections, I don't think also will change that much, but we need to continue pushing because we can do more, we need to do more. If we say, and we have come many times today, we say that this is our war, we need to show it with money.
Thank you. And the last but not least, our co-organizer, SMB Norway.
Yes, I also echo what's just said now, and I also echo Ola, and I think it's possible to do more from Norway's side, and And I think the work with the civil society is super important to create a strong and endurance in the population and in the country to grow and prosper in the years to come.
Thank you. And I would like to acknowledge also the presence here of Frit Ort, that is also the supporter of our Ukrainian Capacity and Sea Democracy Week. And I would like after that to join us for the joint photo. And I would like also to bring the attention to the exhibition that we have with us, the Ukraina, that was made by the Norwegian Umennesken som kjemper for Europas frihet. And also about the Øystein Djupedal's painting that is auctioning to buy the car for the front, and together with the Ukrainian Freedom Convoys. I would like to thank you all the participants, and also the big applause for our civil sectors that are standing together with Ukraine.
Should I mention now the reception?
Yes, mention the reception, and I also will give away the certificates, so and our technician could go home because I.
Yes, we need to practice tent down as well, but there's going to be a reception now at as soon as we are finished here, and I'll walk you there to the house. It's Høyveien 6, Høyveien 6, just up here, and I think also there's one car going. Yes. You drive the car, so it's going to be some light drinks and some food and snacks. It's going to be a nice event, we hope. So please come there. Welcome everybody there. Thank you.